Hey Jennifer.
Hey Angela, guess what I bought? Gummy bears.
Can I have some?
Yeah, but I'm having a bit of a problem.
What's that?
Well, Pack Shop sells two brands of gummy bears, Select and Haribo. The Haribo gummy bears are more expensive and they look more colorful, but does it make them better?
That's a good question. But is there any way we can know what's the answer? Maybe we can figure it out.
Really?
Yes, with science and quantification.
Oh yes, with science and quantification.
To decide what gummy brand is the best to buy, first you have to decide what you mean by best. We've seen how you can make observations about various characteristics. You could notice the gummy bear's color, taste, cost, weight, brand. Remember, these observations can be qualitative, describing a non-countable quality such as color, or quantitative, having to do with numbers. When it comes to data analysis, we have to be a bit more technical. So we have all of these things we can observe. Each of these factors could be called a variable, and we need to choose which variables we want to test to answer our question. We know we're comparing between two brands, so that's our first variable. And everyone knows that bigger gummies are better, so your second variable could be weight. To measure weight, you need a scale. Then you take your two brands, Haribo brand and Select, and weigh each gummy bear in grams. You can then record your data in a table. Notice that in this experiment, you have two variables to consider, brand and weight. Brand is a category. In this case, our two categories are Haribo and Select. Weight is a number. Notice that these are two different types of data. Quantifiable data is information that involves numbers. It can be counted, calculated, or measured in some way. For example, the weight of the gummy bears or the cost. Categorical data is information that can't be counted. It's more like an attribute, or category, or type. For example, the brand of gummy bears or the color. So let's go back to our data table. Because you have quantifiable data for the weight of the gummy bears, you can calculate the average weight for each brand. We call this average a mean. To do this, you add up all the measured values of a single brand and divide by the amount of gummy bears you measured. This calculation gives you the mean weight for that brand. You can then repeat this process for the other brand and see if one is larger than the other. You might find that the brand 1 gummy bears have a larger mean weight than the brand 2 gummy bears. So you could buy brand 1, knowing that you're getting more gummy by weight. Having a quantifiable variable, such as weight, gives you a more precise answer than generally asking which brand is best. It's important for scientists to pay attention to the types of data that they collect, because this determines how they will be able to study it later and the types of questions they can ask. To compare means, like you did with the gummy bears, you need a categorical variable, brand, to decide what your groups are, and a quantitative variable, weight, to measure within each group. You could use the same style of experiment with any two variables, as long as one is categorical and one is quantitative. For example, you could ask, do gummy bears of different colors differ in mean weight? So we've seen the advantages of having quantifiable data. Some variables are easy to quantify, and others can only be categorical. Let's go back to the gummy bears. What if you wanted to decide which brand of gummies tastes better? That's a great question. But how would you quantify taste? You could categorize it as good or bad, but there's no defined scale for that, and people might have different opinions on what good or bad is. It's better if you can choose a variable that is quantifiable. instead of trying to quantify taste, you could measure grams of sugar. This is measurable, and it's a number, so it's a quantitative variable. Because it's quantitative, you could calculate the means for each brand and find out if brand 1 or brand 2 has a larger mean sugar content.
Hey, those gummies look good.
Hey, yeah, I used science to make sure this was the best brand. On average, this brand, the gummies are larger. You want one?
Sure.
Here. Oh, just pick one already.
I'm just trying to find the largest one.
Aren't they all the same?
No, don't you think that the larger the gummy, the more sugar it has?
Really? I don't know. Do larger gummies have more sugars? But I do know how to find out. With science!
So you want to know if larger gummy bears have more sugar. You take each gummy bear and record its weight and the number of grams of sugar in each one. But wait a minute. Both of these variables are quantitative. You know that to compare means, you need a categorical variable and a quantitative variable. But you have two quantitative variables, grams of sugar and weight. So what do? The good news is, quantitative data can be converted into categorical. You could decide that if a gummy bear weighs 3 grams or more, it's big, and if it weighs less than 3 grams, it's small. You could then categorize all the gummy bears in this way, rearrange your data, and see if there's a difference in mean grams of sugar between the big group and the small group. Notice that it's possible to convert quantitative data into categories, but you can't go the other way. If you originally wrote down big or small in your notes, there wouldn't be a way to assign numbers to it later. So it's always better to collect quantitative data when possible.
Do you want to try this one?
But these are better!
But these are also good.
Well, let me try it.
Go ahead. You want some?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a gummy